Let's start with something interesting. Did you know some scientists think humans might be made to believe in a higher power? But here's the question: if it's built in, does that mean it's a truth in our DNA or just something that makes us feel better?
That's an interesting point, Michelle, and it matches research from the University of Oxford, which shows that children often naturally believe in gods even without cultural input. This suggests belief might help us in evolution. For example, it might have helped people trust and work together, which was important for surviving in early human societies.
That's true, Guy, but let's think more about it. Isn't the natural belief also about humans wanting order and control in a chaotic world? History is full of times when societies used gods to explain what they couldn't understand. A study in the journal Science found that religious practices often bring people together and keep order. So could faith just be a way to keep this stability?
True, Ryan, but think about this: if belief in God is just for comfort, how do we explain miracles and personal experiences that seem beyond science? Could they be just coincidences, or are they something more? Also, stories of these experiences often from many cultures, showing a shared human experience.
Great point, Sonia. But here's a question. Do miracles need science to be real, or do they go beyond science? Is it possible that our scientific ways have limits we don't see yet? For example, can we study personal experiences the same way as natural events?
That's a good thought, Michelle, but many events first seen as miracles were later explained by science. Take lightning, once thought to be a god's weapon, now we know it's physics. Should we be open to science explaining today's mysteries? Or does this take away the spiritual feeling of these experiences?
I agree, Guy, but until science knows everything, there's room to talk about faith and evidence. Quantum physics, for example, doesn't follow regular logic and often seems mysterious. Could it be like divine experiences? Aren't we talking about what humans can understand, like how ancient people saw natural events as mystical?
Exactly, Ryan. Isn't it interesting how we limit what we don't get? Maybe what seems divine is just beyond us now, but might be explained one day, or maybe not, and stay mysterious. How does this uncertainty change how we see evidence for God, and could our focus on proof make us miss other kinds of understanding?
So we're left thinking, is evidence for God missing because of our methods, or is it hidden by our limited understanding? Could our search for clear answers actually make us miss a reality that needs a different kind of thinking, maybe beyond our senses? Here's an interesting thought. Studies in our brains suggest we might be wired for mystical experiences. Does this mean God is a natural part of our brain, or are these just brain events?
That's an interesting point, Michelle. Andrew Newberg has studied brain scans during prayer and meditation. These show big changes in brain activity that people call spiritual experiences. If our brains are set up for this, maybe it helped early humans survive by encouraging social bonds and caring.
But Guy, those changes might also show our natural search for meaning, not evidence of God. The God helmet studies show that changing brain activity can make people feel a divine presence. Does this mean our brains are creating God, not finding something real outside?
That's interesting, Ryan. Many people from different cultures feel similar spiritual things. Even if our brains work the same way, could this mean there is a truth that is beyond our usual world?
That's an interesting idea, Sonia. Should we think of these experiences like old-time star navigation, where the stars are real, but people saw them differently? Could our spiritual sides lead us to a hidden reality, or are they just our search for meaning?
Maybe, Michelle. But we can't ignore how many things we thought were spiritual now have scientific reasons. Evolution might have picked beliefs that helped us survive like social structures did. Does seeing spiritual experiences this way lower their value, or does it help us understand them better?
Right, Guy. And think about quantum physics, where particles act in strange ways and seem linked. Could this be like divine complexity? Are we using the gaps in science to prove or deny God?
This makes me wonder if we focus too much on traditional science for spiritual truths. Maybe we need new ways to understand spiritual things that don't fit normal science. How can we respect these personal experiences without needing proof?
With these questions, Are we looking for evidence in the wrong places? Could the real answers about God and spirituality be in a kind of knowledge or consciousness we don't know yet? Did you know that the Big Bang Theory, which explains how the universe started, matches some creation stories? This makes us ask, what causes the universe to be so well-tuned? Is it a smart design or just luck from a cosmic lottery?
That's an interesting link, Michelle. Physicist Paul Davies says the universe's laws seem just right for life, maybe showing a designer. But some believe in the multiverse, with many universes where all things happen. Of course, we are in one that supports life. What should we think of these different ideas?
The multiverse is interesting, but still just a theory without proof. It gives another idea instead of a divine creator. Some, like Stephen Hawking, say the universe might make itself from nothing because of gravity. Does this remove the need for a divine spark, or does it just bring more questions?
Ryan, your idea reminds me that different cultures see the universe's order as a sign of higher intelligence, not just luck. Does our search for meaning connect to our view of the universe, showing something deeper than science alone?
Thinking about this, are our scientific methods enough to understand the universe, or do we need a different view? Could it be that our ideas of creation shape our understanding as much as what we see?
Yes, Michelle. Fred Hoyle said the universe's precise laws seem too perfect to be chance. But are we seeing this because we prefer to see intention, or is there real evidence for intelligent design?
Good point, Guy. Richard Dawkins' blind watchmaker says natural laws and evolution can create complexity without a designer. Quantum mechanics shows chaos and randomness, which could be random or show a hidden order. Does this mean there is an order we don't fully understand yet?
Maybe we are trying to fit a spiritual idea into a scientific view that is too small. What if the universe's mysteries and designs point to a blend where philosophy enriches science?
As we explore this big story, are we really answering the main questions about existence and creation? Or is there a new idea waiting to change what we know? Here's an interesting idea despite advances in medicine. Some people recover in ways that we can't explain. Some call these miracles. Are they signs of a higher power, or just things science hasn't figured out yet?
That's interesting, Michelle. The medical journal BMJ Case Reports has stories where people got better in unexpected ways, often after normal treatments didn't work. Researchers think unknown biological processes might be happening. This makes us question what a miracle is. Is it something we can't explain, or something divine?
What if these miracles are just because we don't know enough science yet? Think about the placebo effect. People feel better just because they believe they will. Could this explain some miracles? Maybe our minds can do more than we know. Do we see these as divine, or just things about the human mind we don't understand?
That's a good point, Ryan. But even if some things can be explained, many people across different cultures talk about divine interventions. These stories feel beyond the logical, hinting at a shared spiritual reality. Could these stories show a deeper spiritual side that science can't measure, but also can't ignore?
With all these experiences, are we too focused on explaining miracles instead of understanding their meaning? If science can't explain them, should we use new ways to study them without losing what they are? Could combining science, philosophy, and spirituality help us understand more?
Maybe, Michelle. The challenge is to keep studies scientific but open-minded. Like in quantum mechanics, where particles can be in many states, maybe spiritual experiences are the same, not fitting into or against physics. Could this be a link between science and spirituality?
True, but remember the God of the gaps idea, where we use divine reasons until science explains more. Isn't it better to see these mysteries as chances to learn, not just as proof of divine? History shows us these explanations often change as we learn more. Shouldn't this make us seek understanding rather than just rely on faith?
I see your point, Ryan. But isn't there worth in seeing the mystery as a way to new knowledge? As we think about these miracles, maybe we need a whole view using both spiritual and scientific ideas to help us understand more. Could mixing these views lead to new insights and discoveries?
So, are we just ignoring mysteries, or could embracing them lead to new understanding? What if putting together wonder, faith, and science shows us new ways to see the universe? Could this whole view show us truths we never saw before, proving that miracles and science go hand in hand, each helping us discover more? Think about this: if finding scientific facts leads to more mysteries, does that mean reality is more than we first think? Do these mysteries show a higher order, or are they just things we don't understand yet?
That's an interesting question, Michelle. A physicist once said the universe is stranger than we can imagine. This idea comes from quantum physics, where particles act in ways we don't expect. Does this mean there is something bigger, maybe even a divine plan?
That's interesting, Guy, but think about our history. We have explained many things that seemed strange before. We do not yet understand dark matter and dark energy, which is most of the universe. They show we don't know everything yet, but they don't mean there is a God involved. Can this idea apply to spiritual experiences and miracles too?
Ryan, isn't there something deep about these mysteries? All over the world, spirituality helps us understand them. This isn't scientific proof, but it's a meaningful way to look at the world. Can science and spirituality together help us learn more about the universe?
So, Guy and Sonia, could science be part of a bigger picture that includes both visible and invisible things? Do science and spirituality work together to help us understand more?
Yes, Michelle. It's like Einstein's theories, which didn't replace Newton's, but added to them. Just the same, can understanding spiritual experiences help our scientific knowledge and help us explore new mysteries on Earth and in space?
But Guy, shouldn't we be careful not to explain things we don't understand by calling them spiritual or divine? History shows this can be dangerous. Isn't it better to see these mysteries as chances to learn more instead of pointing to a God?
Ryan, you make a good point, but trying to understand the unknown is the very thing that fuels philosophy and theology, giving us insights into human experience. Are we missing bigger stories by only relying on scientific evidence?
As we finish, think about this. If we explore both science and spirituality, can we understand the universe better and find new truths?